Okay, hello to the group. John Sturr here in Holiday, Utah. I want to do a quick overview on how I put line on my reels. There's a lot out there, and this is the method that's worked for me moving forward. I haven't had any problems with how I do this and its performance and everything else. A lot of people out there use special knots and tie it on specially. What I use, and I might get some criticism for this, and that's okay, but this is what I do, and this is what works. So take it for what it's worth. Put it in your toolbox for options, but I use tape. I use electrical tape. This is 1/2 inch. If you can get it in 1/4 inch, that would maybe even better. And I trim a small little piece, and I tape it to my spool. I might get some, like I said, I might get some criticism for this. I might get laughed at. That's fine. I'm just sharing. So I take my reel. I'm using a vintage, one of my vintage Bantam Magnum Light Pluses. I have a review on this on my channel. So what I'll do is I'll take off the spool. So I'll pop this side off. And a lot of the newer reels, this is a lot easier process. It's a bit of a trick. Okay, put that aside, grab this, I'll put that aside, and I'll take my line. I'm using a 15-pound Hercules that I got off the AliExpress. And I'll put it through the line guide. This is all pretty important stuff, because if you do it wrong, you just gotta redo it again. And I'll pull it through. Okay. And then I'll take my spool like this. And the reason why I don't use a knot is I can never remember what knot to use. The knot, for me, never gets very tight, and it slips, and I just hate it. And I got to do it again and again and again. Take this, I will put the tape. Actually, I'm going to trim this a little bit more because it's too beefy. You don't need much, you just need enough to get it on there. And I like electrical tape because it's kind of rubberized and it stretches and it works really, really well. Then I'll take the tape, I'll put the line on the tape, just like this, and then I'll put the tape in the center of the spool. Now, the reason why I think this works so well is because the spool, first of all, the line lays flat and there's no knot to get in the way of anything. Make sure the tape is really well seated. And this isn't going to go anywhere. This, if I can get the phone to focus, which I can't, that's okay. This isn't going to go anywhere. This is going to be on there and not move, because you're going to have the tension of the line. You're going to have the tension from the reel on the line, and it's going to be just fine. And I don't have to do some kind of funny slip knot. And the other thing is, I don't like to try to trim anything close to that spool, because I don't want to scratch the spool. I don't want to burr the spool, nick the spool, anything like that, yada, yada, yada. And then the other very important part about this is that you got to put tension on, not crazy amounts, but you got to put a lot of tension on this line as you're reeling it. and you just reel it just a little bit, and then you hold it however you want to hold it. Usually I will put this on a reel seat on a rod, and then just go ahead. What am I doing here? I got to tighten up my drag. My drag is really loose. Okay, I'm having a little bit of a mental meltdown here. And then you just reel it up just like that, and you're good to go. Now, I'm going to get some criticism for this, but I tell you what, if I have a fish on that takes my spool all the way to the end of the spool, and I run out of I don't know, 200 yards of line, hey, that's great. That means I caught a monster or an alligator, and it's going to town. But that's never happened, and I've been fishing since I was 9. So, and you just reel it up, just like that, and you're good to go. Typically, I will have this spool set like this with a pencil through the holes at my feet, and then I will just reel up the line with as much tension as possible, and it works just great. And I go from there. So you can use the fancy knots and different things and different other techniques that are out there, but I like to use tape, electrical tape, and I tape it to the spool, and then I'm done. And then when I want to change the line, it's very easy to take the line off and not have to worry about trying to get a knife or some scissors or whatever to cut the knot to take the stuff off. And never in my life have I ever had a fish take all the line off my spool. And the other thing is that I've never had line slip on my spool. And I don't know why that would happen, actually. I don't know how the spool can be so slick that the line would slip and it would ruin your day. So these are my thoughts. Just wanted to get this out there and show the technique I used with electrical tape, taping it to the spool, and then going to town. Use as small a piece of tape as possible, and then put it on your reel. And I do the same thing for spinning reels too. Spinning reels are such that as long as you have the tension of the line along with the tape and everything else, everything is good. Okay, give me your thoughts and comments. Tell me if I'm crazy. But I don't think I'm crazy. Maybe that's the definition of crazy. All right, cheers.